Which exoplanets are really habitable? In the year 2009, NASA has launched a Kepler space telescope with a goal to find exoplanets in our Milky Way galaxy. In its 9-year-long mission, Kepler observed 530,536 stars and found 2,662 exoplanets. The scientists were especially interested for the habitable planets. These planets are found in the habitable zone of a star and should have liquid water on its surface. This means they should not be too close to the Sun, nor too far from it. But the real question is, are we looking for life on other planets, or a suitable planet for our human race that we could settle on, in case of some cataclysmic event that might happen here on Earth? It would be great if we could find life on other planets. It would be even greater if we could find other civilization just like our own, but with current level of technology we are unable to do so. Considering that there are 200 to 400 billion stars just in our Milky Way galaxy, there is a large probability that there is life on other planets. There are probably civilizations like our own in the Milky Way, but we have no scientific proof for that. Every solar system has at least few planets that are orbiting around a star. This means that there are trillions of planets in our own galaxy. It's very likely that there are few more civilizations in our own galaxy. There are ideas that our human race should become multiplanetary species. That is something that Elon Musk is trying to achieve. But is it really possible for us to go to any other planet and live there? There are scientists who think that we will never be able to do that. The only planet in our solar system that we could possibly settle on is Mars. Mercury and Venus are too close to the Sun, having extremely high temperatures and pressures. Jupiter, Saturn, Neptune, and Uranus are gas giants. So, the only planet in our solar system that we could possibly go to is Mars. But will it be possible to live on Mars permanently, to establish a new civilization there? In my opinion, it will not be possible. This planet, which is further from the Sun than Earth, has surface temperatures ranging from -100 degrees Celsius, up to 20 degrees Celsius. Let's say that we establish a base on Mars and there is a malfunction in the heating system of a habitat. If a temperature reaches -100 degrees Celsius and without heating, people would freeze to death in 30 minutes. The second problem is there is no atmosphere. Pressure on the surface of Mars is around 610 pascals, and that is less than 1% of pressure that we have on Earth, which is around 100,000 pascals. It is practically a vacuum there. But we are unable to live in a vacuum. People would need a pressurized habitat in which to live and pressurized suits if they want to go outside the habitat. Let's say that someone is doing some work outside of the habitat and accidentally creates a small puncture in a suit. He would have about 1 minute to reach the nearest habitat before he dies because of the loss of pressure. It is the same with the habitat. If you have a loss of pressure in a habitat, you would have a short time to fix the problem, otherwise the people would die. Then there is a problem of drinking water and oxygen. We have proof that there is ice, that is practically on the surface of Mars, which is good. But we would still need a machine that would melt the ice and collect the water in a tank so that people could use it. We would also need another machine that would separate hydrogen and oxygen by electrolysis, and then collect both gases in tanks in order to use them later. But let's say there is malfunction of these machines. We would have a certain period of time to repair it, but if we were unable to do so, then we would all suffocate. And even if we overcome all these problems, there is still the largest one, radiation. There are high levels of radiation on the surface of Mars. The planet Mars has already cooled down in its core, so it doesn't have a strong magnetic field, like we have on Earth, which is protecting us from dangerous radiation coming from the Sun. This magnetic field is created by melted metals in the Earth's core. And this strong magnetic field is the very reason why we have life on Earth. If there was no magnetic field, we would all be exposed to a very high levels of radiation, and that is exactly what we find on Mars. So even if we are able to overcome all mentioned problems, people that would live on Mars would be exposed to high levels of radiation. Sooner or later, they would probably die of cancer, leukemia, or any other disease caused by it. We can also hear ideas that we should terraform Mars to create atmosphere and good living conditions. But this is actually in the domain of video games or science fiction movies. It is impossible to terraform a planet. We humans did not terraform the Earth. We evolved from primates in the process of evolution, but there were already thousands of different species of plants and animals present on Earth, even before humans. We already had atmosphere with enough oxygen, we had liquid water to drink, we had different plants and animals that we could eat, so we were able to survive. We actually live in symbiosis with plants. They use CO2 to produce oxygen, and we breathe oxygen to produce CO2. There are even some ideas that we should colonize Saturn's moon Titan, but this would be even harder because of radiation that would come both from Saturn and Sun. Atmosphere on Titan is comprised of methane, what makes the colonization impossible. There would also be a very high probability that we could be bombarded by meteors which are now in Saturn's rings, some of which are few kilometers in diameter. On the other hand, if we would like to settle on some other planet in some other solar system, we have an unsolvable problem. These systems are simply too far. The nearest solar system is Alpha Centauri, with the star Proxima Centauri, and it is 4.37 light-years away. Let's calculate how long would it take us to reach the star system. Light-year is a path that a beam of light travels in a year. The distance of 4.37 light-years equals 41,300,000,000,000 kilometers. The fastest spacecraft that we created is Parker Solar Probe, which reached the speed of 466,592 kilometers per hour. Although manned spacecraft wouldn't be able to reach such a high speed because of a larger weight, let's calculate with this speed just for example. If we divide the distance of 41,300,000,000,000 kilometers, with the fastest speed of 466,592 kilometers per hour, we receive the time of 88,607,811 hours, which is actually 10,115 years. This time is practically 2 times longer than the whole human civilization. And that's exactly the reason why some scientists think that we will never be able to land on some other planet, outside our solar system. Most of the planets that were found during the Kepler mission, were larger than Earth and had very short orbital period. These planets were much easier to spot because of their size, and many of them had orbital periods of around 1 week. Because of that, it was much easier to notice their transit in front of the star. But the problem with these planets is that they are too close to the Sun, meaning they have high temperatures on its surface, making them unavailable to sustain life. Planets that are larger than Earth also have larger gravity, what makes them unsuitable for human race. One of the planets which is supposed to be habitable is Gaia 667 cc. This planet has a mass of 3.7 Earth masses and it orbits a 3-star system. This means that gravity on this planet would be 3.7 times larger than the one on Earth. A person would hardly be able to walk and it would be practically impossible to do any useful work. It would also be impossible to sleep because of extremely high pressure on the back and other parts of the body. A person weighing 100 kilograms on Earth, which is around 1000 newtons, would weigh around 3700 newtons on this planet, as if he had 370 kilograms, which makes it impossible to even move. On the other hand, the orbit of a planet around a 3-star system wouldn't be circular but rather elliptical. Considering that the planet is orbiting 3 stars, the temperature on the surface would vary significantly. NASA is preparing Artemis program. It's an idea to create a base on the moon, where astronauts could work and perform research. In collaboration with their partners, they plan to establish a lunar base in 2024. If this mission proves to be successful, and I personally think that it will, then the next logical step is a mission to Mars. Considering that ISS has been in orbit for the last 20 years, and that there wasn't any major accident or malfunction of the equipment that would endanger the lives of astronauts, it is obvious that both NASA and other space agencies have knowledge and expertise to successfully run ISS. This shows that they are also capable to successfully establish a base on the Moon. Moon is not so far from the Earth, some 384,000 kilometers in average. If anything happens to the crew, while they are on a mission, they always have a possibility to return to Earth in 3 to 4 days. This is what makes this mission much less dangerous. And the team that would run this mission from the ground would always be able to send them necessary equipment or supplies, if they needed them. NASA has already developed a lot of equipment which was designed for a mission to Mars, but now they can use it for Artemis mission. I think that this mission has great chances to be successful.